And obviously we're still behind them. All of this last Sunday. Now we sit in the studios of KCPX, Channel 4 in Salt Lake City, our ABC affiliate here. And this is Evel Knievel today as we sit with ABC News science editor Jules Bergman. Jules and I are going to talk with Evel. First question I have, looking at the scratches which seem to be pretty much healed, is how do you feel today physically and emotionally?
I feel great. I think that maybe by being in the business that I'm in, I'm able to appreciate life a little more than the average guy does who gets up every morning and takes it for granted. And after that jump was over, the next morning when I woke up, the blue sky in Montana and the Rocky Mountains looked especially good to me.
I bet they did. How did you feel physically and emotionally when you got into the vehicle?
Well, I think Jules can tell you he was there with me. I was up for the launch as I was supposed to be. Mr. Truax told me on the phone last night that he knew I'd had a lot of faith in him because we'd have had quite a discussion since this was over. He said, you went through the countdown like a pro and you did not miss firing the rocket by 1/100th of a second. You know, Jim, I, all my life, have not drank any kind of booze or alcohol to any extent, and I have never taken a narcotic, and I think that that is probably what has helped me recuperate and survive a lot of the accidents I've been in when they said that I'd never get up and continue, and I felt great on the launch pad, and I felt great when the countdown went on, and I was ready for whatever was laying on the other side, or I hate to say it, but in the bottom of the canyon.
It sure turned out to be whatever. Jules and Evel, we're going to come back in 1 minute. We have those replays, as you know, that have never been seen by anybody before in the theaters or anywhere else. We're going to analyze them with Evel, so stand by. Jules, I think you had a question just before we went away.
Right.
Yeah.
Evel, here we are a few moments before launch. The knot in your stomach was just about to go away, that knot you'd awakened with every morning you mentioned to me. What was the actual punch, the thrust of the rocket like as you started up the ramp?
When I hit the fire button, I had one hand wrapped down around behind me on the webbing underneath my seat, and I had my knee over the firing gun and my arm that held the parachute. I had that blocked off. And when I punched that fire button and that thing hit, I saw the flag coming right at me, the American flag, and it went underneath me, and all I saw was blue sky, but then I lost all perspective. I may have blacked out, I don't know. But I did come to with that jolt, and it was like brakes being put on, and I was upside down, and I saw the canyon underneath me, and I looked at the stopwatch they had strapped to my leg, and I saw that there was only 9 or 10 seconds gone by.
Would you like to see it now as other people saw it?
Yes, I have never seen it. I would
the way
like to
you
take a look
yourself
at
have
it.
never seen it, right.
Yeah. Well, we have several angles here, and first is this one.
This is a slow motion shot,
Slow
I guess,
motion.
of the takeoff. Look at that chute come out behind that
And
thing.
you can see clearly the chute did come out on the pad, Evel, long before you could have
Well,
released
Jules,
it.
I never fired it. I'll tell you that. I never had a chance.
There's no doubt about that in anyone's mind who was there and saw the parachute can cover afterward. Here she is starting to roll over on her side. One complete roll to the right, and then the main chute, pulled out by the drogue chute, is deployed, and you're heading down. What did it feel like at this moment?
Well, right then I knew, I could see, I was over the side of the canyon and then the river coming back in at me, and Ron Chase was on the microphone telling me, take your visor and raise it, and I tried, but there was such a tight squeeze in that cockpit that I could only rip the visor off, which I did. I ripped it away with my hands and then tried to get to my safety belt to find out where it was so that if I went in the river, which I thought I was going,
Yeah, what do you think your chances
I
were
could
right
get
here
out.
of living? Did you
Jim,
think
I
about
want to
that?
tell you something. I could not get to the safety belt. In other words,
Yeah,
I
hit the
couldn't
wall.
find it.
How big a jolt was that impact?
Well, I hit a glancing blow there, and I dropped down another 65 or 67 feet, so I'm very thankful that parachute didn't collapse when it hit there, because, you see, I hit that rock wall and then dropped down. I was 7.5 feet from the water when they finally got to me, so with the seatbelt not opening to get me out of the thing, I would have gone to the bottom of that river, and It took us 6 months to find the first Skycycle. I don't know how soon they'd have found me, but if I couldn't have got out of it...
Now, here's another fantastic view from behind as you shoot off the pad.
I see the vehicle is rolling in the air.
You see it rolling immediately,
Yes.
and you see the shoot out immediately.
You see that darn pilot chute came loose also. You see that? And the shrouds are twisting.
Here's where people like myself thought they could see you struggling to get the visor up and down the cockpit.
I was tearing it. You can see I'm trying to get my arms above, out of the cockpit, and I was getting the visor away from my eyes.
Are you glad you didn't get out?
Oh, yes.
You better be.
Well,
Wouldn't have worked out, would it?
if I'd have loosened the safety belt then and hit the rocks,
Evel,
I'd have really got a jolt.
Evel, now we're going to have a really tight look at the launch. There you go, in slow motion. There's the parachute canister already out.
Blew the can right off the back.
Instantly, wasn't it? Yeah.
See, it started to turn when I got over upside down, then I could see the canyon below me. And here's where I felt the brakes. I didn't know what had happened. I just couldn't figure out what the hell had happened because my knee and my hand were frozen on the ejection system. I just didn't know if I'd blacked out or if I was
Watch
going into
closely,
the
and you
canyon.
can see
or
your
what.
arms there the way you were trying to get out, right there.
I wasn't trying to get out. I was just trying to rip my visor off and trying to get my safety strap in hand so that if I went into the water, I could have a chance to get out of the thing. But
So you at no time planned to jump out of it?
we thought we were going to go across. Bob Truax came to me and said, Evel, if you want to call this thing off, you don't owe me a dime. And we all looked at each other and smiled, and Ron and Bill Sproul and Facundo Campoy, they all said, Evel, you're going to make it, and I got in it with that thought in mind. That's all there is to it.
Why didn't you want to use the personnel chute?
Well, we just felt that I would ride it all the way in. I didn't want to parachute out of it. I said I'd try and ride it across and nosedive it in, and that's what I wanted to do. And, you know, if there's any seed of equivalent benefit in this adversity, I can only tell you that it's still my being alive, and I, under all circumstances, regardless of what happened, do not feel that we failed, and I do not feel ashamed in any way to have been defeated by a canyon as beautiful and as mighty as the Snake River Canyon. That's all there is to it.
Well, here it is from one of our helicopter cameras. It sure is beautiful.
And there is a launch now from the helicopter camera.
Boy, it's on its way across to. Look
And
at
you
that.
can see the chute slowing you down. You can see the headwind carrying you back in now. The wind had gotten very gusty.
I just, the last words I said to Bob when he left the blast-off pad, I said, Bob, what is the wind? He said, 12 miles an hour, gusting to 15 and 18. I said, do we have a chance? He said, yes. If it will go all the way, you're going to make it. And,
Do you feel that you went actually across the canyon before you started to drift back?
Oh, yes. Yes. I mean, at 18 miles an hour, it blew me back in how many seconds. You can figure out how much ground I covered.
Here's your impact.
You got to remember, Jim, that parachute all the way open acts like a huge sail on a sailboat. Carries the vehicle right back.
We had
Now
a
you
great
can see
recovery team in the bottom. My own pilot, Mr. McCullum, and all the fellows that were on recovered the thing.
Look at this shot now.
It's from the other side, looking back, from another helicopter. And again, you see it start down and then backwards.
What a strange feeling it was when that parachute opened. When I got upside down, I was trying to work those little flippers to turn the thing, and when I pressed on one, I thought, boy, somebody put the brakes on. I thought, what the heck? They didn't tell me there was brakes on this thing, because I had never known that the parachute systems came out.
Are you getting a kind of emotional reaction watching this again for the first time?
Oh,
Does it look better or worse? Or
I've
what?
lived with this thing for so long that, you know, I look at it and obviously I was disappointed, and not knowing what happened, I thought I'm going to be blamed for a premature parachute ejection, which I did not make, and there were a lot of things going through my mind.
Now there's the impact on the side of the canyon. You're sliding down toward that rock shelf at the edge of the river.
That's where they ended up finding me.
Okay, well, there's a few separate views of what happened at the Snake River Canyon last Sunday.